First-person shooters, FPS, have been a cornerstone of gaming for decades, offering adrenaline-pumping action, immersive storytelling, and intense multiplayer battles. FPS games have evolved to define entire generations of gamers. This list explores 25 of the best FPS games, a mix of legendary titles, innovative indie gems, and groundbreaking shooters that have shaped the genre.
The iconic adventure returns with enhanced...
Metroid Prime Remastered is a high-definition remaster of the classic Metroid Prime 2002, developed by Retro Studios and released for the Nintendo Switch on February 8, 2023. The game begins with Samus answering a distress signal from the space pirate frigate Orpheon. Upon boarding, she discovers that biological experiments have gone horribly wrong, with mutated creatures attacking everything in sight. She eventually encounters Parasite Queen, a giant mutated organism, and defeats it, but the ship's self-destruct sequence activates, forcing her to escape. During her escape, she comes face-to-face with METROID, a cybernetically enhanced version of her longtime rival Ridley, who flees toward Talon IV. As Samus pursues Ridley, her power suit malfunctions, causing her to lose most of her abilities. With no choice, she lands on Talon IV and begins her investigation. GHOSTRUNNER is a fast-paced cyberpunk action game developed by One More Level, 3D Realms, and Slipgate Ironworks, and published by 505 Games. Released in 2020, the game combines parkour, one-hit kill sword combat, and a dystopian sci-fi story set in a futuristic world where humanity's last survivors live in a towering megastructure. The game takes place in Dharma Tower, a massive skyscraper that serves as humanity's last refuge after a cataclysmic event destroyed most of the world. You play as the GHOSTRUNNER, a highly advanced cybernetic ninja designed to maintain order and protect the people. However, before the game's events, a scientist named Mara, now known as the Keymaster, betrayed and wiped out the GHOSTRUNNERs, taking control of Dharma Tower and ruling with an iron fist. You awaken with no memory, only to hear a mysterious voice, the Architect, the digital consciousness of the tower's original creator. He guides you on a mission to reclaim Dharma Tower, defeat Mara, and uncover the truth about your existence. Wolfenstein 2. The new Colossus is a first-person shooter developed by Machine Games and published by Bethesda in 2017. It continues the alternate history storyline where the Nazis won World War II and now rule over America. Players take on the role of William B.J. Blazkowicz, a war hero and resistance fighter, as he fights to liberate the United States from Nazi control. The game picks up immediately after Wolfenstein, The New Order, 2014. After defeating General Death's Head, BJ is gravely wounded and falls into a coma. He is rescued by his allies aboard the stolen Nazi U-boat, Eva's Hammer, and spends 5 months recovering. When he awakens, the Nazi commander Irene Engel attacks the submarine, capturing BJ and his allies. While imprisoned, he is forced to witness Engel execute Caroline Becker, the leader of the resistance. With no other choice, BJ dons Caroline's power armor, which enhances his strength and mobility, and leads the resistance to escape.
Yes, motherfucker.
Welcome to New York. Version 2.
CRYSIS 3 Remastered is the enhanced version of CRYSIS 3 2013, developed by Crytek and published by Electronic Arts. Released as part of the CRYSIS Remastered trilogy, this first-person shooter combines stunning visuals, open-ended combat, and an intense sci-fi narrative. The game concludes the story of Prophet, a super soldier wielding the nanosuit, as he fights to liberate Earth from both human and alien threats. The year is 2047, and the world is under the control of CELL, a corrupt megacorporation that has used alien thief technology to enslave humanity. New York City has been transformed into a massive urban rainforest, encased in a CEL-built nanodome, where nature has reclaimed the ruins of civilization. You play as Prophet, a legendary nanosuit warrior who was thought to be dead. However, you are awakened by Psycho, a former nanosuit soldier who was stripped of his suit by CEL. Prophet quickly learns that CEL has enslaved humanity through an unlimited energy source, and it's up to him to stop them.
Name is Prophet.
METROID 2033 Redux is a remastered version of METROID 2033 2010, developed by F.O.A.D Games and based on the novel METROID 2033 by Dmitry Glukhovsky. This first-person survival horror shooter takes place in a post-apocalyptic Russia. where humanity survives in the underground Moscow metro after a nuclear war wiped out the surface world. The year is 2033, 20 years after a nuclear war devastated Earth. The surface is now an irradiated wasteland, filled with mutants and deadly anomalies. Humanity's survivors live in the Moscow metro system, divided into various factions like Rangers, elite survivalists trying to keep order, the Reds, communists, seeking control under a Soviet-style regime, the Fourth Reich, Nazis, an extremist, fascist faction, independent stations, struggling to survive between conflicts. Artyom was born just before the war and has lived his entire life in Exhibition Station. However, his home is now threatened by mysterious creatures called the Dark Ones, who seem to communicate telepathically and drive people insane. Call of Juarez, Gunslinger is a first-person shooter developed by Techland and published by Ubisoft in 2013. Unlike previous entries in the series, this game is a stylized, arcade-style Western shooter that follows the tale of Silas Greaves, a legendary bounty hunter recounting his adventures. With fast-paced gunplay, a unique storytelling style, and encounters with real-life outlaws, Gunslinger offers an exciting take on the Wild West. Silas was once a bounty hunter tracking down notorious criminals. However, his true motivation wasn't just money. He was on a personal vendetta against 3 men who killed his brothers when he was younger. Throughout his journey, he faces numerous gunfights, ambushes, and duels, often bending the truth to make himself seem invincible. One of the unique aspects of the game is its unreliable narrator style. Silas sometimes contradicts himself, leading to hilarious or dramatic changes in gameplay. For example, he might describe an impossible situation only to correct himself, making enemies vanish or appear out of nowhere.
Jesse James. They all made their choice, and I've made mine.
It feels like it was just printed. There was a...
The Persistence is a sci-fi survival horror game developed and published by Firesprite Games. Originally released in 2018, it later received enhanced versions for multiple platforms, including VR support. The game blends roguelike mechanics, stealth, and intense horror as you navigate a derelict spaceship filled with terrifying mutated enemies. You play as Zimri Eder, a security officer aboard the Persistence, a colony ship stranded near a black hole after a catastrophic accident. The ship's clone printer malfunctions, leading to the creation of grotesque mutants instead of proper human crew members. Zimri's original body was killed, but thanks to the ship's cloning system, her consciousness is repeatedly transferred into new clone bodies every time she dies. Her mission is to restore the ship's systems, escape the black hole's pull, and survive the horrors aboard. The Persistence is a unique blend of survival horror and roguelike gameplay, offering a tense atmosphere, challenging enemies, and an ever-changing environment.
Operation Front must be eliminated, including Colonel Omar.
Strike Force 3 is a first-person shooter developed by Polygon Art Studios, released on September 6, 2023. In this game, players assume the role of an elite operative engaged in modern combat against the Tariqian Liberation Front, TLF. The gameplay features intense firefights, stealth missions, and high-stakes challenges set in environments such as desert canyons and war-torn cities. Players utilize a variety of weapons and advanced gear to outmaneuver enemies and complete objectives. The world is on the brink of chaos as the Tariqian Liberation Front, TLF, a highly organized terrorist group, launches deadly attacks across multiple regions. Their goal is to overthrow governments and seize control of critical military assets. In response, an elite special forces unit known as Strike Force 3 is deployed to neutralize the TLF threat before it spirals into full-scale war.
Your mission is to infiltrate the enemy-controlled territory.
Remorse. The List is a classic survival horror game developed by Ashkandi and Deprisik team, released on April 24, 2022. Set in the small Hungarian town of Hidegpuszta, players assume the role of Adrian, a young man who, after spending a decade in an orphanage, moves into his own apartment. On his first night, he experiences a restless sleep and awakens in an abandoned warehouse, finding a mysterious letter and a flashlight. With no recollection of how he arrived there, Adrian embarks on a journey to uncover the town's dark secrets, guided only by a cryptic list. The only clue in front of him is a mysterious list, a cryptic collection of words that seem to hold the key to the town's horrifying secrets. Armed with a flashlight and nothing else, Adrian must explore the deserted streets, eerie buildings, and dark alleyways of Hidegpusta to uncover the truth.
What do you think?
Overwatch 2 is a team-based first-person shooter developed by Blizzard Entertainment and released in 2022 as a free-to-play sequel to Overwatch 2016. While the core PvP gameplay remains similar, the game introduces new heroes, maps, modes, and a shift to 5 version 5 team battles. Beyond the multiplayer action, Overwatch 2 expands the narrative of the Overwatch universe, focusing on the return of the Overwatch organization to combat rising global threats. In Overwatch 2, the Omnic extremist group Null Sector launches a full-scale attack against humanity, reigniting tensions between humans and Omnics. Cities worldwide, including Rio de Janeiro, Toronto, and New York, are plunged into chaos as robotic forces invade. With the world in crisis, former Overwatch members Winston, Tracer, May, and others take action, attempting to reassemble the organization and fight back against the growing threat. Overwatch 2 expands its universe by reuniting old heroes, introducing new threats, global conflicts, and deeper lore. Warhammer 40,000. BOLTGUN is a retro-inspired first-person shooter developed by Auroch Digital and published by Focus Entertainment, released in 2023. The game combines the brutal, fast-paced action of 90s shooters, like Doom and Quake, with the grim-dark universe of Warhammer 40K, putting players in the role of a battle-hardened space marine on a mission to cleanse the galaxy of chaos. You play as a Sternguard veteran of the Ultramarines, a highly experienced Adeptus Astartes warrior sent on a mission by Inquisitor Cybele of the Ordo Malleus. Your objective: investigate Graia, a forge world that has fallen into chaos corruption. Eradicate heretical forces, including Chaos Space Marines, demons, and cultists. Uncover the dark truth behind the warp-tainted infestation on the planet. Armed with the iconic boltgun, chainsword, and a vast arsenal of deadly Space Marine weaponry, you unleash righteous fury upon the enemies of the Imperium of Man. Warhammer 40,000. Boltgun delivers an intense, blood-soaked FPS experience, immersing players in the ruthless brutality of a Space Marine's war against chaos.
Blast cultists!
Bright Memory. Infinite is a fast-paced first-person shooter developed by F.O.A.D Studio and released in 2021. The game is a reimagining of the original Bright Memory and blends gunplay, melee combat, and sci-fi elements with a cinematic storyline. The game is set in the year 2036, where a mysterious phenomenon appears in the skies across the world. The Supernatural Science Research Organization, SRO, sends an elite agent, Sheila, to investigate. Her mission leads her to a remote island, where she discovers that a strange black hole-like structure is warping time and space. Ancient mystical forces and futuristic technology are colliding. A military organization called the SAI, Science and Advanced Intelligence, is also present, trying to exploit the anomaly for their own gain. Throughout the story, Sheila discovers that the anomaly is a time rift, pulling elements from different timelines into the present. As the black hole grows unstable, ancient warriors and high-tech enemies clash in a battle that defies reality. Severed Steel is a fast-paced, acrobatic first-person shooter developed by Greylock Studio and released in 2021. The game features bullet-time mechanics, parkour movement, and destructible environments, creating a fluid and intense gunplay experience. The story follows Steel, a one-armed assassin seeking revenge against the EdenSys Corporation, a powerful, dystopian megacorporation responsible for her suffering. The game begins with Steel, the protagonist, waking up inside a high-security facility owned by EdenSys, a corrupt megacorporation that rules with an iron fist. She quickly realizes that she has been experimented on and left for dead, losing her left arm in the process. Fueled by rage and survival instinct, Steel sets out on a one-woman war against EdenSys, determined to destroy the corporation and everyone involved. Severed Steel delivers an adrenaline-fueled revenge story combined with parkour-heavy gunplay. It's a tale of a lone warrior taking on an oppressive system, using speed, skill, and firepower to dismantle a corrupt mega-corporation.
Hunter, huh? You picked a hell of a time to join.
Borderlands 3 is a looter-shooter RPG developed by Gearbox Software and released in 2019. Set in the chaotic post-apocalyptic universe of Pandora, the game follows a new generation of Vault Hunters battling against the Calypso twins, who seek ultimate power. Years after the events of Borderlands 2, a pair of power-hungry cult leaders, Tyreen and Troy Calypso, rise to power. They lead a massive army of fanatics called the Children of the Vault, COV. Unlike previous villains, Tyreen has a unique ability. She can leech power from others, stealing energy from sirens and powerful beings. Her twin brother, Troy, shares her power and assists in their conquest. The twins seek to unlock the Great Vault, a legendary treasure said to house the ultimate power of the Iridians. The Calypso twins eventually absorb enough power to awaken the Destroyer, an ancient cosmic horror sealed inside the Great Vault.
G'day, Kings Canyon!
Apex Legends is a free-to-play battle royale game developed by Respawn Entertainment, released in 2019. Set in the Titanfall universe, the game features a diverse cast of Legends' unique characters, with their own abilities, stories, and motivations who compete in the Apex games, a deadly contest in the futuristic Outlands. The game blends strategic team-based combat, unique character abilities, and fast-paced action. The Apex games are a brutal, televised competition, where competitors called Legends fight for fame, fortune, and survival. The games are broadcast across the Outlands, a series of remote planets that have been abandoned by the galactic powers and are controlled by the Interstellar Manufacturing Corporation, IMC, which oversees the contests. These Bloodsport games attract the best and most dangerous warriors from across the galaxy, including bounty hunters, former soldiers, and mercenaries. Victory in the Apex games offers the winner riches, power, and a chance to shape the future of the Outlands.
After this, we should hang.
Hunting Simulator 2 is an immersive, open-world hunting simulation game developed by Neopika and released in 2020. It offers players a realistic hunting experience in vast, natural environments, allowing them to hunt a variety of animals while exploring different landscapes across North America and Europe. The game focuses on realistic wildlife behavior, realistic hunting gear, and expansive environments, providing a dynamic experience for both beginner and experienced hunters. While Hunting Simulator 2 doesn't have a traditional narrative-driven story, the game offers a rich experience through its open-world exploration, quests, and missions. The Hunter's Journey players take on the role of a hunter with a passion for the outdoors, traveling across various locations in search of wild game. The primary goal is to track, hunt, and harvest animals in different environments, including forests, plains, and mountainous regions. As the hunter, you start with basic equipment and gradually unlock more advanced tools and weapons as you progress. 35mm is an indie adventure game developed by Chernomord and released in 2019. Set in a post-apocalyptic world, the game follows two survivors as they navigate a desolate landscape, unraveling the mysteries of a world that has been devastated by an unknown catastrophe. The game combines exploration, puzzle solving, and a mysterious narrative, all told through a minimalist approach, with an emphasis on atmosphere, environmental storytelling, and the relationship between the two protagonists. The story of 35mm begins in a world that has been ravaged by an unexplained disaster. Cities lie in ruin, and nature has slowly started to reclaim the land. There are no clear signs of what caused the downfall of civilization, but it's apparent that the world has been plunged into chaos. Most human life has disappeared, and survivors are few and far between. 35mm is a minimalist, atmospheric adventure game that emphasizes exploration, mystery, and human connection in a post-apocalyptic world. CRSED, F.O.A.D, Cuisine Royale 2nd Edition, Fulfillment of All Desires is a free-to-play battle royale shooter developed by Darkflow Software and published by Gaijin Entertainment. Originally starting as a parody of battle royale games, CRSED has since evolved into a full-fledged competitive multiplayer shooter with a unique blend of realistic gunplay, supernatural abilities, and quirky mechanics. Unlike traditional battle royale games, CRSED, F.O.A.D introduces a lore-driven setting where fighters called champions are warriors from different time periods and realities, each competing in the deadly F.O.A.D tournament for power, survival, and personal reasons. The F.O.A.D, Fulfillment of All Desires, is a mysterious gladiator-style deathmatch where elite warriors from various timelines are brought together to fight for ultimate victory. The tournament is controlled by an unknown force, and participants must fight to the death.
Even new.
Estranged. The Departure is a first-person adventure game developed by Alan Edwards. It is the sequel to Estranged, Act 1, and continues the story of a fisherman who finds himself stranded on a mysterious island filled with secrets, dangers, and a shadowy corporation conducting unethical experiments. The game blends exploration, puzzle solving, and combat, offering a mix of sci-fi mystery and survival elements. The protagonist, a fisherman, washes ashore on a remote island after his boat crashes. He quickly discovers that the island is not deserted. It's home to the R.K.E.R Corporation, a powerful and secretive organization conducting dangerous scientific experiments. As he explores, he uncovers clues about the strange events unfolding on the island. The environment is filled with abandoned facilities, eerie laboratories, and hostile forces, hinting that something terrible has happened. Estranged, The Departure is a story-driven adventure that blends mystery, action, and puzzle solving.
How come one company so...
Member of Task Force Delta, Army's elite special forces unit.
Task Force Delta. Afghanistan is a military first-person shooter that focuses on realistic combat scenarios inspired by modern warfare in Afghanistan. The game puts players in the role of an elite special forces operative, tasked with carrying out high-risk missions against insurgent forces in a war-torn environment. Set during the Afghanistan conflict, the game follows Task Force Delta, an elite group of special operations soldiers deployed to counter terrorist threats, insurgent activity, and high-profile enemy targets. The player assumes the role of an experienced operative, carrying out classified missions in the heart of enemy territory. The game's story unfolds through intense military operations, including counter-terrorism missions targeting high-value enemy leaders, reconnaissance and intelligence gathering in hostile regions,
Terrorists and protect the free world.
Legends of the Zone Trilogy is a collection of the iconic S.T.A.L.K.E.R games set in the dangerous and mysterious Chernobyl exclusion zone. The trilogy includes S.T.A.L.K.E.R, Shadow of Chernobyl, 2007, S.T.A.L.K.E.R, Clear Sky, 2008, S.T.A.L.K.E.R, Call of Pripyat, 2009. These survival horror FPS games, developed by GSC Game World, blend elements of first-person shooting, open-world exploration, and deep survival mechanics in a post-apocalyptic setting. Players must navigate the harsh, irradiated zone, battle dangerous mutants and rival factions, and uncover dark secrets hidden within Chernobyl's ruins. The S.T.A.L.K.E.R universe is set in an alternate reality, where a second explosion at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant has created a highly dangerous, mutated wasteland filled with anomalies, mutants, and hidden artifacts with mysterious properties. The zone attracts S.T.A.L.K.E.Rs, mercenaries, scavengers, and fortune seekers looking for valuable artifacts while surviving against deadly creatures, radiation, and hostile factions.
The Inner Circle.
Doom Eternal is the sequel to Doom 2016 and continues the story of the legendary Doom Slayer in his brutal war against the forces of hell. Developed by id Software and released in 2020, the game expands on its predecessor with faster combat, more lore, and intense world building. Set 2 years after Doom 2016, the Hell invasion of Earth is nearly complete. The demonic forces led by the Hell Priests have wiped out most of humanity. Only a few resistance groups and the ARC, Armored Response Coalition, remain, desperately fighting to survive. The Doomslayer returns, now operating from the Fortress of Doom, a massive space station orbiting Earth. His mission: hunt down the Hell Priests and stop the invasion before humanity is wiped out. To end the invasion, the Slayer must eliminate the 3 Hell Priests, Deg Nilox, Deg Ranak, and Deg Grav, who serve the Khan Maker, a godlike being from the realm of Urdak. The Khan Maker has orchestrated the invasion to harvest human souls, using them as energy to fuel her own dying civilization.
Bring us the girl, and
BioShock Infinite, released in 2013 by Irrational Games, is a first-person shooter set in the floating city of Columbia in 1912. Unlike the underwater dystopia of Rapture from previous BioShock games, Columbia is a gilded, seemingly utopian city hiding dark secrets beneath its patriotic exterior. Players control Booker DeWitt, a former Pinkerton agent with a mysterious past, who is given one task: bring us the girl and wipe away the debt. Booker arrives in Columbia, a floating city ruled by the religious zealot Zachary Comstock, who claims to be a prophet. Comstock created Columbia as a nationalist utopia, but the city is divided between the elite and the oppressed underclass. Booker's mission is to find Elizabeth, a young woman imprisoned in a tower known as the Monument Island. Elizabeth possesses the ability to open rifts, or tears, in reality, making her a target for powerful forces. BioShock Infinite is a mind-bending journey through a beautiful yet disturbing world, combining intense action, deep storytelling, and philosophical themes. PRODEUS is a retro-style first-person shooter developed by Bounding Box Software and released in 2022. Inspired by classic 90s shooters like Doom and Quake, PRODEUS features fast-paced combat, brutal gore, and modern graphical enhancements while staying true to the old-school FPS formula. The game blends high-energy gunplay, intense level design, and a sci-fi horror atmosphere, offering a nostalgic but fresh experience for FPS fans. The story of PRODEUS is minimalistic, much like classic shooters. It primarily serves as a backdrop for the action. Here's the basic premise. You play as a corrupted agent of PRODEUS, a godlike artificial entity. Your mission is to destroy the forces that created you and wipe out the invading abominations that have overrun the world. The game's setting is a nightmarish, industrial, and alien-infested landscape filled with eldritch horrors, cyborg monstrosities, and demonic entities. Throughout the campaign, you battle through a variety of hellish environments, futuristic industrial zones, and corrupted dimensions, using an arsenal of devastating weapons to eradicate enemies in an explosion of blood and metal.
In a city of lies.
Dying Light Definitive Edition is the ultimate version of Dying Light, the open-world, first-person survival horror game developed by Techland. Originally released in 2015, Dying Light combines parkour movement, brutal melee combat, and a dynamic day-night cycle, where zombies become far deadlier after dark. The Definitive Edition includes the base game, all DLCs, expansions, and extra content, making it the complete experience for fans of zombie survival games. The game is set in the fictional Middle Eastern city of Harran, which has been overrun by a zombie outbreak. The government has quarantined the city, leaving the survivors to fend for themselves. You play as Kyle Crane, an undercover GREF global relief effort, agent sent into Harran to retrieve sensitive information from a rogue political figure, Kadir Rais Suleiman. Crane is dropped into the city and quickly learns that survival is far more complicated than his mission. He joins a group of survivors led by Harris Brecken, who are struggling to stay alive while dealing with bandits, limited supplies, and the constant threat of the infected.